Let's begin with our fifth part of federalism. How is federalism practiced in our country? Constitutional provisions are necessary for the success of federalism, but these are not sufficient. If the federal experiments has succeeded in India, it is not merely because of the clearly laid out constitutional provisions. The real success of federalism in India can be attributed to the nature of the democratic politics in our country. This ensured that the spirit of federalism, respect for diversity, and desire for living together became shared ideals in our country. Now, let us look at some of the major ways in which this happened. All right, so did you understand that how it is possible in our country? If the federal experiment has succeeded in our country, it is because India can be attributed to the nature of democratic politics in our country, the way democracy has been adopted. This ensured that the spirit of federalism, respect for diversity, and desire for living together, it became a shared ideal in our country, and it can be seen through various ways. All right, so let us find out how it can be viewed in our country. The creation of linguistic states was the first and a major test for democratic politics in our country. If you look at the political map of India when it began its journey as a democracy in 1947 and that of 2020, you will be surprised by the extent of the changes. Many old states have vanished and many new states have been created. Areas, boundaries, and names of the states have been changed. At the time of British withdrawal, that is, when British left India, 565 princely states were officially recognized in the Indian subcontinent, apart from thousands of zamindari states and jagirs. In 1947, princely states covered 40% of the area of pre independence India and constituted 23% of its population. On 15th August 1947, British India was granted independence as a separate dominion of India and Pakistan. Between 1947 and about 1950, territories of the princely states were politically integrated into the Indian Union. Most were merged into existing provinces, others were organized into new provinces such as Rajputana, Himachal Pradesh, Madhya Bharat, and Vindhya Pradesh. Made up of multiple princely states, a few, including Mysore, Hyderabad, Bhopal, and Bilaspur, became separate provinces. Government of India Act 1935 remained the constitutional law of India pending adoption of a new constitution. The new Constitution of India, which came into force on 26 January 1950, made India a sovereign democratic republic. The new republic was also declared to be a union of states. The post independence period saw the ascent of political movement for the creation of new states developed on linguistic lines. The movement to create a Telugu speaking state out of the northern portion of Madras state gathered strength in the years after independence, and in 1953 the 16 northern Telugu speaking districts of Madras state became the new state of Andhra Pradesh or Andhra. So, Andhra was the first state to be created on linguistic basis in 1953. These linguistic states were created with the aim of settling people who speak the same language to live in same state. It was also better for administration and reduction of the possibility of regional conflicts in future. So, states in India were carved out on the basis of on the basis of language. So, linguistic basis. Let's understand this furthermore as we move ahead in the chapter. In 1947, boundaries of old several states of India were changed in order to create new states, right? So, this was done to ensure that people who spoke the same language lived in the same state. Some states were created not on the basis of language but to recognize differences based on culture, ethnicity, or geography. These included states like Nagaland, Uttarakhand, and Jharkhand. When the demand for the formation of states on the basis of language was raised, some national leaders feared that it would lead to the disintegration of the country. The central government resisted linguistic states for some time, but the experience has shown that the formation of linguistic states has actually made the country more united. It has also made administration easier. Linguistic reorganization put an end to actually break the country into various parts by the political parties. So, this tendency was removed, totally removed because of the language, because of the linguistic reorganization. It fulfilled the aspirations of the people to have autonomous political units for governance. It led to development of vernacular language and imparting of education in them, because of which literacy increased. Development and adoption of vernacular language also enabled political participation by common man and enabled the common man to voice issues of concern in the familiar language. It helped the preservation of local customs, cultures, and festivals. Over time, people of India have come to cherish different customs of different states. It did not lead to complaints regarding discrimination in matters of distribution of resources on the basis of language, nor did it affect the federal structure of the country. Now, what can we conclude from this part? Formation of linguistic states has actually made the country more united. It has also made administration easier. Well, do you know how many union territories and states do we have currently? So we have 28 states and 8 union territories, because Jammu and Kashmir has been bifurcated into J and K, into two union territories, J and K and Ladakh. Remember this point. Here we come to the end of this part.